Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today I want to share my tips and tricks for affording luxury. I am in my 20s and I have built my collection over the past several years, and I thought some of these tips would be helpful for those of you who are starting to build your collection, or you're interested in purchasing luxury and you're not quite sure how to go about it. Or even if you have a great collection and you want to continue to grow your collection, I think there are some tips that can help everybody. I'm not an expert by any means, but these are definitely the tips that I've picked up along the way and really inform how I make purchases to make sure I stay within budget and I don't do anything financially irresponsible. I hope you find this video helpful. I hope you find some of these tips helpful. And let me know if you have any additional tips in the comments below. So it was a gorgeous day today. It was sunny and beautiful in New York City, and of course right when I sit down to make a video, all of the sun decides to go away. Now I feel like I am fighting against time, so if I'm talking really quickly, that's probably why. But my first tip, and I can't stress how important this first tip really is knowing your budget. It's going to be different for everybody, but having a sense of what your expendable income is going to be very helpful to make sure you stay within your means as you're making purchases during the month. And what I mean by expendable income is I will take my monthly income, I will subtract expenses that I know have to go out, so like rent, or if you have a mortgage, or electricity and your internet, things like that. And then I also budget for food and other necessities, so a little bit of travel, and if you go to a gym or things like that. And then every month, even if it's like $100, I try to carve some out to put into my savings account. Then at the end of all of that, net at the bottom, that's what I consider my expendable income for a month. And sometimes it means I want to go to like Chanel and see if I can add something to my collection. And some months it just means, that's the funds I have available if I need to, go shopping for an outfit because I have an upcoming interview, or I have a party to go to, and sometimes those expenses come about, and that's what I'll use my expendable income for. If I know I want to purchase something larger, like a bag, and then I will make sure I have enough of that expendable income. Some of it might be from savings that I've done in prior months, but otherwise I'll make sure I have enough funds to purchase the item before I will ever make any kind of purchase. So making sure you know what your budget is every month is very helpful for having like a financial check in place and making sure you don't spend way beyond your means. My next tip is around using credit card points. So I tend to make majority of my purchases on credit cards, and I ensure that they all stay within my budget so that I don't overextend myself. And I feel the benefit of using credit cards, aside from the payment, like fraud protection and other benefits that come along with it, is also around the fact that there are some credit cards where you can get points. You can accrue points based on your purchases, and you can use those points for cashback or gift cards to certain retail stores and things like that. I can use some of those cashback points and apply it towards my next statement, which means I wouldn't actually have to pay the full amount of the statement. I have some help from the credit card points. My other tip with credit cards, at least where I am in my place in life, I only have so much expendable income, and I don't consider it to be an exorbitant amount where I could really divide that up across multiple credit cards to really get the benefits of each of those credit cards. For example, there are lots of department stores that have their own credit card, and they really advertise you getting the credit card. They sometimes try to entice you with saying you'll get an extra 10%, 15% off your first purchase if you sign up for their credit card. Well, I only have, let's say I only have $100 of expendable income to spend, right? If I really want to get the maximum benefit out of my $100 that I'm spending, then I would want to spend that on the same card, because I know I use the Chase Freedom Unlimited, so I get 1.5 cash back on every purchase that I make. So I know I'm automatically going to get 1.5% back on my $100. But if I split my $100, let's say, into like $10 on that Chase Freedom Unlimited card, and then there's like $20 on this Nordstrom card that I use sometimes, and another $20 over here on a Saks credit card that I use sometimes, then the benefits that I'll be reaping from all of those gets diminished because I don't have a lot of income to spend on each one. Does that make sense? So I try to focus all of my spending on that one credit card, which then accrues a lot faster, and then I get to a point where I can use those points as like $100 cash back a lot sooner. That's just my perspective on channeling my expendable income so that I can get the cashback points and like reap that benefit sooner. My next tip is around bargain shopping. So going to actual bargain retailers. Some that come to mind are like Nordstrom Rack, Saks Office. I live in New York City, so Woodbury Commons, that premium outlet mall, is not very far away, so that's another one. There's Neiman Marcus Last Call. These are all what I consider bargain shops, right? They advertise selling items below retail. TJ Maxx is another great place. All of these places, sometimes it's hit or miss, but you can come across some wonderful gems in these bargain shops, and they are automatically below retail price. Sometimes they are very, very dramatically below retail price, and you can make some great scores. This particular tip is more for those who kind of like the hunt, if you will. If you like to go see what kind of deal you can find, then I think that's another great place to look for items. Like, just for a little bit of eye candy, like I purchased these really classic Jimmy Choo booties from the Nordstrom Rack that opened up on, I want to say it's like 30th and 6th Ave in New York City. And these were an awesome deal, and they were a very classic style, so I was very happy that I was able to pick these up. But you know, these were just a really lucky find. At that particular Nordstrom Rack, I have found like a lot of Saint Laurents as well, so keep an eye out because sometimes they'll show up. Another great deal are these pair of Saint Laurents. These are also like a really classic pair, and I couldn't believe they had them. But they're like they're Mary Jane style, if you can see the strap that goes across, and they're platformed. These are something that I will probably have in my collection forever, right? Like, they're a very classic pair. So I was really stoked. I found these at I want to say the Neiman Marcus Last Call at Woodbury, which I think honestly is now closed, which makes me sad. But your Neiman Marcus Last Call, wherever you are, can definitely have some of these items, so I'd keep an eye out. They also have an online website, so that's also fun. But it's really awesome to score something so classic that you know you'll be wearing for a long time at a bargain price. These were like 70% off retail. My next tip is another one around bargain shopping, but that's to really wait for a sale. There are some pieces that you just know will never go on sale, but for a lot of items though, they will end up going on sale. There is a question of whether your size will still be there or not, so if you really love it and you can afford it, I always advise to just purchase it at that point in time. If not, if you can wait, if it's something that you feel like is nice to have, you don't have to have it at this moment, then wait for a sale. It will almost inevitably go on sale. Sites like Essence, I know, have they have like 2 times a year that they really go on sale. November is definitely one of those times, and there might be one in the spring. because I know that when it comes fall time, I don't purchase a lot of things from that site, and I like explicitly wait for this sale to hit, and then I start running through the sale pages to see if there's anything that I wanted to add to my collection. There are other great sites like Louisa Via Roma. I know they do a lot of sales, like extra 10%, extra 15% off. Farfetch is another one. They have a great sale. Department stores are the same way. For example, I picked up these Acne pumps on the Essence sale. These I also scored way below retail. I want to say it was like 50% off. But these, I was eyeing these. I was eyeing these at full price for months, and then I noticed that they were part of the sale, so I just snagged them up, and I was really excited about that. I was ready to pay full price, but I held off. There was something, I don't know, maybe I just knew that they would go on sale. So always wait to see if an item goes on sale. Just another tip around sales. So the Chanel boutiques that are in a department store, so the Chanel boutique inside of Saks Fifth Avenue, or a Chanel boutique inside of a Nordstrom, a Chanel inside of a Neiman Marcus, a lot of times the boutique itself is like a leased department. So they are still part of Chanel corporate, and they, you know, run the items inside. That's why a lot of times, you know, the sale promos exclude all, you know, Chanel, even though, you know, Neiman Marcus is running this huge sale. However, the shoes from Chanel are oftentimes purchased by the department store. So the department store is much more likely to run a sale on Chanel shoes because they own that inventory and they want to move their inventory. And that's how I scored these shoes. These really gorgeous Chanel pumps. I did a haul video on these, and I managed to get these at like, I'm gonna say 60% off retail again. These were just hidden in the sale cupboard in Bloomingdale's in New York City. And so I was able to get them on sale. Granted, they're not heavily advertised when they're on sale, so sometimes you need to just ask to see if any of the shoes are on sale. But that's just another tip, particular for Chanel shoes, that a lot of times at the department store, you can get the shoes on sale because they will run their inventory for sales. My next tip is to purchase a non-classic, classic piece. What I mean by that is there are some really iconic pieces that come from these luxury brands. Like Chanel has their classic quilt in a medium, large, or a jumbo size. Dior has like the Lady Dior. Manolo Blahnik have the Hangisi shoes. Like, there are some brands that just have their iconic pieces. And because they are so classic, and because they transcend decades of fashion coming in and out, oftentimes those items are really hard to find on sale. Like, they don't go on sale, or even on the Preloved market, they hold their value pretty well. So what I mean by non-classic, classic piece is something that definitely has a lot of the elements of a classic piece, but isn't exactly it. Now, this can depend on your style. If you're somebody who really likes to stick to the classic pieces from all of these houses, then this might not really work for you. But I'm somebody who likes to have more unique pieces. There's some extra quirk about it. That's typically what I like, and that's what I go for. And because of that, I pick pieces that have classic elements to them, but they're not exactly the classic iconic piece. So I have a couple of examples to share. This is my Balmain blazer, and this is not the most classic style. The one that cuts really deep and is a bit shorter. It's not that style, but this piece from Balmain still has a lot of the similar elements, right? The gorgeous gold buttons, the double-breastedness, having the gorgeous detailing of all the buttons on the sleeves. It still has the elements, the lapel, all of it. And it's still in a classic black color that I know I can incorporate into my wardrobe really, really easily. So I can still get my cost per wear down. It's still in a style that actually I think would be more flattering for myself. So it still has a lot of those classic elements to it. It works for my body shape and my frame, but it's not the classic piece. So I managed to find this on sale as well. This was around Black Friday last year. So I picked it up on like, I want to say it was like 50% off, almost 50% off, and I'm able to enjoy a piece of Balmain in my collection. Another example is my jumbo that I have in my collection. So this is also a vintage jumbo, which I also wanted because I prefer a single flap over a double flap. But this is also black with gold hardware, a very, very classic combination, in a jumbo size, which is also a very classic and coveted size. It has the double CC, but the only difference is that it has these vertical quilts. In my eyes, it's a classic piece, even though it doesn't have the diamond quilting. So this is another example of a non-classic classic piece. And my last tip for purchasing luxury items and building a collection is purchasing Preloved. I am a proponent of purchasing Preloved. I think there are so many benefits for doing that. One, it's sustainable. It helps bring new life back into items that have been created before instead of hitting a trash can. It also allows me to diversify my collection with pieces from times that I might not have even been alive, right? That has a lot of history and character to it that I love to have as part of my collection. Preloved also is a great way for me to add items from collections that I missed. For example, I think it was like 2014 and 2015, Chanel did a cruise collection in Seoul, Korea, and I was not in a place where I could purchase anything from that collection, so I'm still on the hunt for finding the right piece to add from that collection. I just want it because I want to have a piece of that collection. I think it's really special. The cruise collection was in Seoul. There is no Preloved market. How would I be able to get any of those pieces, right? And of course, the price point for Preloved items is typically lower than retail. There are some items that are, really coveted and they have a higher demand and higher price coming with it, but there are some items that are just at a much more attainable price point that make it easier to add to your collection, make it easier for you to try, see how you like. Maybe it's a new brand, maybe it's a new style. You can add it, you can try it out, and it also builds your collection. So I think Preloved is a great route. My favorite example of a Preloved item is this Hermes Vespa, and this is in the TPM size. This I purchased off of eBay, and I absolutely love it. It's a really great just mini crossbody bag where I can be hands-free. This was under, I want to say it was like under $1,000, which for an Hermes piece I think is a great price point. Preloved is a great place to find some unique pieces to add to your collection and be able to try new things out without, being financially irresponsible. So those are all of my tips and tricks for purchasing luxury items and adding them to your collection without being fiscally irresponsible. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you found a tip or two that you're looking forward to try. If there is a tip that resonated with you the most, then please let me know down below in the comments. And if you have any tips that you use, then I would love to hear them down below in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram, and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. If you like this kind of content, I put out new videos every Sunday. So if you'd like to be one of the first to know, feel free to subscribe. So until next time, bye!